Bitz.
You can't have an awards ceremony or a secret society without a fez. I have measured my husband's head with some elastic. I have this frozen margarita mitt jar, and I am going to use this junk and make my husband a fez for our party that we're having. First off, I need to get rid of all of this thickness down here, and that's going to be my first task. I'm going to cut it right along this seam. That might work. I'm going to sand that a little bit so that it's not quite so rough. We have a base for our hat, a little bit flexible, especially without that lip. I have got my industrial hot glue gun. While I'm waiting for that to heat up, I have this silk in a nice, not atrocious red, in a nice regal red. It's remnants from an old sheet. I'm going to use the old bucket to mark a circle that's going to be a little bit larger than what was there before. So I'm going to mark my circle with my Sharpie. And I am just cutting a circle out of this material. That seems to fit quite well over the top, but as you can see, this bucket has an inner layer, so that causes an indent that I don't necessarily want. So I'm going to find a little bit of filling for that. More junk material. This actually was from a mattress that we took apart. We took apart the mattress, and the material I've been able to use for a whole bunch of other stuff. I am going to do the same that I did on that last one. I'd say I need 2 of these because the lip's pretty deep and I kind of want it to roll over the top. And I've decided I need 3. I know you can buy fez on Amazon or eBay or one of the many other websites for $10 or less. But when you have stuff laying around your house that you're not using anyway and you can make it for free, it just seems kind of fun to play. And I guess some people would say, well, what about the time that it takes? Well, I could be using my time to sit in front of the TV, but I find that being creative helps me both mentally. It keeps me busy and away from the potato chips. It gets rid of stuff that would normally end up in the landfill. I'm kind of helping the environment a little bit, I suppose. Positives of making your own fez: you save money, you have a reason to get creative, you keep things out of the landfills, you cut back on your emissions by not having Amazon drive it to your house. That is going to give a nice soft edge to that top. My heat gun has heated up now. I'm going to do a quick wait to put this on because I want to do the sides first so that I can bring a little lip over onto the top. And look at that. That's going to fit perfect. Awesome. I'm going to sew a hem in this, then the rest of the hat will be attached here. Let's move to the sewing machine. So this gives me a semi-finished edge. With it being silk, there's some puckering, which I could live without. And there are a lot of loose threads, which I could live without. But I think it's a good enough start to take back into our hat. We have hemmed this. I'm going to use that as my bottom edge. I'm going to start with my hemmed edge. I'm going to attach this right at the edge of the bucket. Try not to burn myself too much. And then that brings it around to the seam edge. And here I have that finished edge. I can bring over the top of this one. And it's going to kind of go a seam at an angle because of the way that the material was cut. So far, we've got a pillbox hat. My husband's head is really large. To get it to fit over his noggin, it's a huge fez. The only bad thing about hot glue is all the burns. Oh, I'm terrible about burning myself. All you klutzes out there know what I'm talking about. Alright. So we've got this at least hot glued in place. We need a top, but first we're going to need to cut that. Okay, so I'm going to start cutting this, but give myself enough that I can overlap, cover the top. There we've got that. Now I'm going to start tacking this over, trying to smooth it out as I go. A couple more glue sticks. And now you have your little piece that is going to go on top, but you don't want it completely exposed. You're going to want a hem underneath. Just start on one side, flip it over, tack the glue. The funny thing about doing a project like this is as you're doing it, you realize there are 100 easier ways to probably do it than what you're doing. And you'll probably never make another fez again. And you wish you had known before you started that if you did it a certain way, it would work out better. But I guess if you're making a fez, you can see all my mistakes and learn from them. Okay, so we've got a basic, but I don't really like that seam that much. I'm sure I have junk that I can fix that with. As I said before, we've got lots of junk around here. And I have this, which is off of a lamp. We had a couple of old lampshades, and I think it would be kind of funny to have this on my fez maybe. We've all heard the joke about the drunk at a party who ends up with a light lampshade on his head, so I think that the fringe will be kind of funny, kind of will symbolize that lampshade. I mean, you know, this is the Hightower Spirit of Adventure Awards ceremony that I'm making this for, and it is a major award. Okay, well, let's get it cut the right length first. So we're looking at about there. I also found this old leather tassel for the very top. I think what I'll do is just slightly overlap it on the top. I'm going to start where my seam was again, because it'd be better if all of this ends up right back at the seam. Remember where we got these old lampshades. I think somebody gave them to us, but it sure does make it kind of fun for this attempt at a fez. Well, and what's a party if you don't end up with a lampshade on your head, right? Oh my. My husband's gonna kill me when I make him wear this. Alright, so now I'm gonna need to get a hole in the top of this so that I can attach the tassel, because every fez has got to have a tassel. Like any good treasure hunter, I have a plethora of different buttons. I am thinking for the top of this, the button will do nicely to tie the tassel to. So all I really need to do, get my needle and thread and sew this button on. I ended up choosing the button that has a crest on it. I think that kind of gives a little bit of the semblance of those secret societies of yesterday. Okay, I just tried this on my husband and it is way too tall. I guess I should have known, but that's easy enough to fix. I am going to release it from the bucket. And these are the problems that you have when you eyeball stuff. That's why I probably don't do as well as I should when I'm playing at home. I do have to say the hot glue works really good though. Let's move our little hat back a little bit and make our adjustments. I will use this as a straight edge again. I pushed it on, and that's going to allow me to get rid of, let's see. There we go. Okay, so we've shortened our fez. Let's check that out and see how that works. So I had found that my husband's head is big and this hat needs more flex in it. So I think what I can do without damaging its shape is do a few darts that will hopefully let it expand to his head. Hopefully that will let it flare out. And as if the hat wasn't gaudy enough to really pack in that adventurer's theme, I'm going to put a ribbon of animal print around the bottom. It's going to look amazing. And I'm going to start along the seam again. And I know this is going to sound crazy, but most of this ribbon that I found, it was free. It was taken off of barrettes that people were throwing away or ribbon. I really, truly believe that everything can be used for something. I still have a little work to do on this. I want to get an emblem to put on it. Well, I got most of the kinks worked out. Figured out how to get this to stretch to my husband's head by cutting some darts inside and leaving a little extra room in the material so it could stretch out. I'm not finished yet because I want it to have the Society for Explorers and Adventurers logo on it. And to do that, I am going to need to use this little emblem that I printed up on my computer on transfer paper. I will take off the back of this, place it on another piece of material, which I will iron it to, and make a little patch out of it, and then that will go onto my hat. Alright, so there it is, ironed onto the material, and then I did a buttonhole stitch all the way around it to make it look more like a patch, and then I'll cut that out and then place that on the hat. I think that'll really give it that fez-ish look, hopefully. What do you think?
What do you think?
I think you look very sophisticated. I went a little over the top on it, didn't I? Maybe.
Yeah, I think it's a good look.
Lots of tassels, lots of bling.
Who was Bernard on the adventure cruise to the Antarctic or whatever?
Burgers. It wasn't Bernard. What was his name?
I thought his name was Bernard.
No.
Bernard the Burger.
I can't remember what his name was.
That was Bernard.
I don't think it was Bernard. Oh, you do look like a Bernard. So who do you want to be then?
I'm pretty sure it was Bernard.
somewhere.
The burglars.
Foundations for the city hall. I have no idea. Aim.
I don't know, but it was Bernard.
It was Bernard.